Hello, everyone. A very warm and cheerful good evening to one and all present here. So, right now we are hosting a webinar related to full stack web development. So, before starting the webinar, let me start with one of the lines from Ed Jackson Brown Jr. So, he once said that the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. So now is the time for you guys basically to start your preparation in order to achieve great success in the near future. So first of all, let me introduce to you guys about TechBairn. Let me introduce TechBairn to you guys. So when I say the name TechBairn, obviously something comes up to your mind, like what is TechBairn? How does it? How does this name came? How this name came from? So basically, Brian is a Scottish term which means a child. So we here at TechBairn want you guys to be well equipped with today's technology and become a tech child in your near future. It is a pioneer in the edtech industry, the fastest growing professional training program in the country. It is recognized by the IPP, Government of India, and supported by Startup India. Recognized collaborations with Google Education and Microsoft. So for your information, DIPP stands for Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion and is basically responsible for the overall industrial policy. So we here aim to bridge the gap between academic and experiential learning. We offer a new opportunity to enthusiastic students for learning new technologies and making them industry ready. We are acting as a catalyst to make them industry ready. So since we are here for the webinar related to full stack web development, let me introduce you guys to some of the industry trends related to full stack web development. So the number of jobs for full stack developers is growing at a rate of 30% year on year. About 1 million full stack developer profiles are expected to be created in 2020 alone. You can see that, you can realize it that during the pandemic time also, the number of job opportunities are increasing massively. In fact, the average salary of a full stack developer in India is about rupees 7 lakhs, with the maximum going up to rupees 17 lakhs. So gear up guys to gain a lot of knowledge and then enjoy the lavish lifestyle you promised yourself to. So today we have two guest speakers with us for today's webinar, Alok and Mihir. So they would be taking up from here. First of all, why don't I ask the guest speakers to introduce themselves to you guys? So over to you, Alok and Mihir. And guys, make sure to take maximum output from this webinar. So Alok and Mihir, you can take up from here.
Sure. Thank you, Smaksha. So hello everyone, good evening. Hope you all are doing fine and staying healthy. My name is Alok Raj and I'm a senior software engineer at Globant. So I have been in this software industry for around 3 years and my expertise lies in this whole full stack web domain. So today we will be taking you through like how, if you are planning to become a full stack web developer, how you could become, and like we will start with all famous questions. So Mihir, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yep, you are.
Yeah, thanks, Alok. So, hi, this is me. I am software engineer L2 at Twilio. I have also been, similar to Alok, I have also been deeply involved in this full stack software and web development industry for more than 3 years now. And with Alok, I also have an open source initiative, whose name is Open Devs. Sorry, one second. Yeah, Open Devs. So basically, there we contribute to open source and we also build some amazing products that other developers like yourself can use, right? And we are really glad that you are all here and very grateful that we are able to help you in the first steps, beginning steps of this journey, full stack web developer journey. So without further ado, let me get started. So today we'll be discussing about few topics. Oh yeah, before that, I would like to introduce. If you have any questions in mind, you can either keep it in mind or write it down somewhere, or you can drop it in the chat, and we'll be monitoring it and we'll be taking it all. We'll be discussing about it at the end of the session. All right. So today we are going to tackle three of the most crucial questions when it comes to any sort of thing that you want to pursue, right? Which is like what, why, and how, right? So we'll be taking you through what is full stack web development first. Then we will move over to why industry as well as yourself need full stack web development. And then finally, we'll be looking at how you can become a full stack web developer. We'll be taking you through one of the paths, one of the most popular paths based on our research. And yeah, so that's how it will go. And let's move ahead. So coming to first question of the day, which is like, what is full stack web development, right? So basically try to when I go over these terms like front end, back end, full stack, and all these things, I'll give you an example, and you try to visualize that example based on like how you interact with web today, right? How you open up your laptop, open your browser up, and you search for something, right? So coming to the first term, full stack web development actually involves three terms, which is front end, there is one thing called backend, and there is a database, and then there are some other parts which are like testing and deployment and all right. So coming to first thing, that is front end. So imagine or just correlate to when you go to google.com and you get a search bar there, you type something there, you press the search button, and all the results, like millions of results, just come up on your page, right? So that is the front end. Front end is basically what we all look at when we open a application, when we open a web application, or when we open any kind of website. Okay, so it's sort of a platform that is provided to us, like the users, end users, so that we can interact with someone's created services. So like, let's say Alok created some service, he wants the whole world to use it, so he has created a front end for so that we can interact with it, right? So front end is basically uh, includes but is not limited to the structure, the design, the behavior, the content view, the responsiveness, images, and everything that you see on your browser. All right. So that is what front end is. Now moving on to backend. What is backend? So backend is the logic which is understanding what you are doing at the front end, what you are trying to fetch from the front end, and it's sending the accurate results back to you. It's doing some manipulation on it, and then it's sending some results back to you. All right. So this is basically the server side. So when you search on Google something, when you search on Google like any kind of thing, so what happens is front end sends a call to the backend. Backend then does some manipulation on top of it. It queries the database which is there, and then it fetches all those results and it sends back those results to the front end. All right. So basically, backend is a sort of like a logical piece which actually does all the uh, calculations, all the manipulation of data and everything, right? So backend plus database is includes but is not limited to like writing APIs, which is like uh, using which you can interact between front end and back end. Then we can create some reusable components. We can automate some tasks. We can have database backup and all. So all these, like all of the things that you do behind the scenes, like which is not visible to the end user in the front, comes in inside backend plus database area, right? So now coming to full stack. So full stack is basically merging of both of these, front end and back end, plus testing and some deployment strategies. All right. So uh, it's like you are developing everything. Like you are developing the front end, like the what is google.com page that is visible on your browser. You are also at the same point of time developing the back end where the logic will run. You are at the same point of time running the database somewhere where all those results, all those pages are stored. You are also doing some testings on the website, and you are doing some deployment. All right. So full stack is combination of front end, back end, database, and few other things. All right. So this is basically what full stack web development is. You will be working on the front end, back end, and database, and a few other things. So now this is basically what I was just talking about. So here the client that you see is client is your laptop or mobile or any sort of thing that you have joined this webinar from, right? So you open a web browser in this in your client. It can be your mobile, it can be your again your laptop, your desktop, or anything. Then what happens is, as soon as you are typing www.google.com and you are sending a request, so it is sending a request to some computer which is stored somewhere around earth at a remote place, right? It's sending a request to there, and that web server is running some sort of logic. It's running some sort of calculation it's doing, and it's fetching some data and back to the web server, and then web browser, where through the browser you can see what it is about. Yeah, look.
Mihir, could you turn off your camera? There is some bandwidth issue going from your end.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
Yep. Thank you.
okay, thanks. Was this understandable, or should I like go ahead again with this?
Yeah, no, no. Continue, continue. It was good till now.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so basically this is how the flow looks like. Your client in your client, you open up a web browser. You then request for some sort of service, like it can be google.com, or it can be any kind of thing, Gmail or anything, YouTube or anything. It goes to a web server that is somewhere else. It is also a computer that is running somewhere else. It runs some logic, fetches some data from the database. It sends you back the results to your web browser, and that web browser interprets that result and shows you those results on your client, which can be your mobile, which can be your laptop, which can be your desktop, anything. All right. So now coming to this is a topic where we'll handle two more crucial questions, which is why industry needs a full stack web developer, and why you also need to become a full stack web developer in today's world, right? So tackling the first question, why industry needs full stack web development. So basically, previously, if we are talking about, like, let's say something before 2014 or 2013 period, if we are talking before that, so industry leaders or the businessmen wanted full stack web developers because uh, they wanted one person to do everything, so that they can save some resources, they need to pay less and everything, right? But that has totally shifted after 2015 and after that, because now the full stack developers demand comes from increased power of the tools that we have. So one person or a single team can make everything. Like they can work on the front end, they can work on the back end, they can work on database, design, UI, UX, everything, and they can do everything. So since it has become so powerful, that now people want to have some sort of team, every company want to have a sort of team which can handle everything. All right. So why we need this kind of team is because if you have a single team, if you have a single team or single group of people, or even a single person handling the whole thing, then there is a better client coordination, right? There is better coordination between the team, there is better coordination between the team and outside of the team. Like let's say you are developing, your company has asked you to develop something for TCS. So basically TCS is your client. So there will be better coordination, right? You will be talking, if you are a single team, then you will be talking in a better terms with TCS, as compared to if there are like 3 or 4 different teams handling different things, right? So basically every company, most of the companies are very rigorously, as we also shared, as that they are very rigorously looking for the finest full stack developers, right? So that they can build their applications from scratch to the ending without any discontinuation. All right, because since you can handle everything, then you will be able to build it from the top to the bottom. All right. And as you can also understand, there will be less switching between resource, right? A single team which is handling front end tasks, which is handling back end, database, design, and everything. then there is less switching between the team, which saves upon the productivity. So you need to do less meetings, you need to do less coordination with different teams, and that saves up resources and also increases productivity hours. All right. Now we'll go over the next big question, which is why you need to become full stack web developer. And Alok will be taking you forward on this one. Alok.
Yep. Thank you, Mihir. All right, guys. So I will be taking forward from here. So till now, you guys are aware of like what is full stack web development. This full stack web development has three main term. Like one is like the front end, the other one is the back end. Then comes this database, and like then combined together forms a full stack. Mihir discussed about that. Now it comes in this why industry full stack web developer. So even Mihir talked about that, that why industry needs. Then the second prospect to the same question comes in, that why you need web full stack development. Like why not just go for front end or back end? Like why you need to become a full stack web developer. So again, like I will be talking about like this particular, and again I will be going forward talking about this how you can become a full stack web developer. All right, so cracking the first question, why you need full stack web development. So understand, like whenever someone plans to dive into this whole web development journey, so anyone what do they do? They comes in like they learns about HTML, then the CSS and the JavaScript obviously, and then the next question comes in, what should I do? Like should I do go for front end or should I go for the back end? Like this is the first question any beginner comes into their mind, and they generally tend to take suggestions research. My like what our point is, like let's say, why don't you do both of them, like do back end stuff too and again front end stuff too? Because the thing is like going forward in your career, at one time there would be a certain scenario you need to be specialized in something. Like let's say you chose backend and like you are doing but you are not actually enjoying it. So if you have studied this, like let's say front end and backend both, so you would have been a better position to decide upon which is better, like at least from your perspective, which is better, like which to choose upon. So this is the sole reason why I believe that you need to know full stack web development, so that you are aware of, like obviously you are going to be in demand, that is the one thing. But on a like a career perspective, you are aware of the whole domain, like what is front end, what is back end. And like let's say, and at like everyone has this soft corner for either one of this act. So let's say you have you just crave for this front end stuff, or someone like to do this back end stuff. So then you are in a better position to decide upon. So this is, I mean, the crucial reason you should choose to become a full stack web developer. And again, like from a career perspective and a job opportunity perspective, like let's say you if you are a full stack developer, you have multiple role to apply upon. You could see the example displayed on the screen. Like you could apply for a front end role, you could apply for the back end role, or you could be a database developer, or you could be even help with going forward. If you really love this deployment thing, you could actually go for DevOps, and in number of things are there. So I believe these are the reasons that you should become a full stack web developer. And you should decide upon, okay, like okay, I don't like this backend stuff, or I don't like this front end stuff. Then it's on you to decide upon whom to go with. So yeah, that is the reasons you need to become a full stack web developer. All right, this is the big one. Why it is a big one, I will be when I will be explaining, you will get to know. So now we will be tackling about how can you become a full stack web developer. So like this is the very famous questions when a college fresher or even like industry fresher asks their seniors for advice, like how can they become a full stack web developer. So we will be, there are few crucial points which need to be looked upon and kept in mind upon. Like if you're planning to become a full stack web developer, you just can't skip this thing. So these are the, I mean, I will be talking about the steps you need to become a full stack web developer. The very first steps comes in here is choose your stack. Like there are in industry, there are n numbers of stacks available. Examples are MERN stack, mean stack, Maven, Python, Django, .NET, Ruby on Rails, lamp stack, and n numbers of stacks are already present. Then the very first crucial things comes in. The thing is like you can't do all that in a one shot. You need to basically do your research. You have to do some exploration on your own and decide upon which is the track, which is the stack which is most exciting to you. That could be a MERN stack, that could be mean stack, and like I myself started my career as a mean stack. So that's just an example. Like I did my own research, and I felt like, okay, I think I love this mean stack more, or this is really comfortable. So this is the thing. So the very first question comes into the mind, like very first thing you should do, you should choose your stack. And like on our own research, like me and Mihir, like we have been in industry for a while, and from our own experience, this MERN stack is the hot stack, I would say, for the current scenario. So again, like I won't say this since, because like I am saying, then you should do MERN stack. Do your own research, do your own R&D things, R&D stuff, and then choose a popular stack which you prefer to become a full stack developer in. The second point comes in to stay updated. I mean, this is, you seems like, okay, yeah, I'm aware of this, but the thing is, like, technology changes, it shifts from moment to moment. Like you know something, and the next moment something new comes up, and if you don't try to update yourself, you will be left behind. Like again, this is again a crucial part, and it requires a whole new different webinar, because there are n numbers of ways to stay up to date, like by reading blogs, by following some particular channel, or I'm like, there are n numbers of things to do, by subscribing to newsletter. So this is again important. Like, let's say you decided to become a MERN stack web developer, you started to read about it. Again, I will be talking about what will be the ways to read about it, but yeah, you started that, okay, you decided to become a full stack web developer in MERN stack. Then you need to be like, once you start learning, you have some better understanding, some basic understanding, you need to be stay up to date. Like every day new versions of these stacks comes into the play, and new things comes in. You need to be up to date to be aware of like what's going around this industry. And the third point, like it's again a very crucial, and it's very close to my heart, because I have been here. Like, follow good courses, but don't follow in, like don't fall in course loop. Like I had Mihir, which dragged me out of this course loop and pushed me to build some project. But the whole gist about the sentence is, like, what we generally do, we actually follow some Udemy course or YouTube course, we follow along, we see the instructor making some cool project, we do that stuff, and like once the course is end, like we are now not enough confident enough to build something on our own, and what we do, we generally tend to follow some other course. Like I myself been there. Like I started from Coursera, then moved to Udemy, then YouTube, and then the GitHub project. Like I had been shifting from project to project, course to course, but never, like I was not confident enough. Then the gist around it, do your own research, find a very good course, and make sure you end, like you start it and end it, like till the end, and start building something. Like let's say you couldn't be able to figure out how to build, just Google it. I mean, it's better to like watch code and learn, rather than again following one new course. Because in the course, what we do, we generally just follow the instructor blindly, and he's making stuff, he's taking things and everything. Like, and this is taking you nowhere. Like once you found a good course, complete it thoroughly, and try to build project out of it. If you are stuck, ask for help from seniors, or ask to help from Google. Like everything is present on like Google. If you just search it down, there will be n numbers of link around this Stack Overflow and everything. So again, good course, and then don't fall in course loop. All right. This fourth point is, I would say, optional, but this is something which could take you far ahead from your competitor. Why? Because what I'm saying, to develop project with a mindset of it sellable or production ready. What does it mean? It means quite simple. Like let's say if you are developing something, even myself in the college, what used to do, like whenever I used to have name any variable, I just used to say var a, var b. But this var a, variable a, doesn't make any sense. So there are like some coding standards, coding guideline, which would take you forward. Like if you know that stuff, this coding standard, because these are the things which you are going to require, which you are going to know about when you start working in some industry. So like you should always follow some naming convention, there should be properly linted, and in numbers of things comes into the play. Like if you'll just search for coding guidelines, JavaScript coding guideline, you would find n numbers of things. So these are the things which should make you ahead from your competitor. Like what happens, like these days, generally companies, when you are applying for that company, these companies try to tend to visualize your GitHub profile, try to like look into your coding style. So whenever possible, try to write good code. And like again, this is again an optional, but this should take you far ahead. This fifth point, this is a very, very, very important question, I would say, which any developer have in mind. Like, okay, do I need to be aware of this data structural algorithm? I would certainly say yes. Like, if you are into software development, you just can't skip this DSS thing, because this is the thing. Again, like, it is again very crucial from an interview perspective. That is the one thing, obviously. But like, whenever like, I won't say that it is used in our day-to-day life while I'm working on some web development project, but this is something when time to time when I'm developing some let's say function or method. So this is something like which optimize our solution, because like, if I'm aware of this basic DSA concept, I could write my code efficiently. So like generally being a developer, everyone tries to skip this, but I won't say to skip it. Don't go deep dive into to become a competitive programmer, but you should be aware of all the basic data structure problems and everything. All right. Lastly, but not the least, try to be flexible with tooling. Again, this is very personal to me. I have been working with this mean stack. Particularly, I will talk about the Angular stuff here. I had been working with Angular for around 2 years, and post that, when I joined Globant, I was like rigid to actually move to React. Like I felt like, okay, why React? Angular is there, and why to shift on whole new technology and everything. But the thing is like, because I was very comfortable around this Angular thing, and I was like, okay, whenever I try to code something in React, I would say, okay, no, I think Angular is better. So what I did, I was rigid with my technology. But trust me, it won't take you far. And like again, I had to learn this React thing. And once, trust me, I'm confident enough. Like I have learned this React, and now I would say, now like love React more. You see how the perspective changed. Earlier I was rigid to stay with this Angular thing, but once I learned this React, now I love, in fact, React more, and I'm confident more in React. And trust me, like now it actually broadened my scope, and I started to learn about more framework. Trust me, like in coming days, I'm going to even switch to Vue.js probably. So all I'm trying to say, that don't get rigid. Like whatever you decide, let's say you decided to become a merge stack developer, going forward there could be certain scenario you need to switch to mean stack. So that is an industry demand, and you just can't skip it. Like if you're trying to, okay, no, I'm comfortable around this mean stack, I won't skip, I won't switch, it will just take you backward. So again, don't be rigid with your tool, be flexible. At certain time there could a situation come, like again, like if you are into this JavaScript domain, I would say just stick with JavaScript as a core language, and then on top of it all the frameworks and libraries will come in and go, but the JavaScript will remain over here. So I could ask you to stay rigid about this JavaScript and be flexible about this all the tooling and everything, this framework and package library around it. But again, like at certain time there could something scenario come then where like Python would be more helpful, or let's say Go language would be more helpful. So even at certain time you in fact have to be not rigid about this code language. So it's like software development, since it is rapid, like changing so rapidly, you have to be always be flexible. So these are the certain guideline I would say to become a full stack developer. Then comes the roadmap, like how you can become full stack developer, like what to learn, and like probably where to learn, and all these questions comes into the mind. So again, like as I was saying in the very beginning, like anyone decide upon to become a full stack developer, what they do, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then what? So these are the roadmap which you could follow. So our like our this is, you could just I would say just this is the best way to go ahead with if you're wishing to become a popular, like you can say na, a JavaScript full stack developer. So mind the term, this is related to JavaScript. I'm not talking about this other Ruby on Rails and everything, because I myself is a full stack developer, so I would talk about my stuff. All right, so let's say you decided to become a mean, Mern, or Maven, any developer, any full stack developer you wish. So what are the things you need to do? The very first thing, you need to learn about this HTML. And generally people tend to take HTML very lightly, but with the coming of HTML5 and new Vue APIs, it has become more powerful. So yeah, again, like you need to spend time around it to learn HTML. then like build very small project around it. And again, like HTML is there for to structure your web page. It just provide, okay, here is the header, here is the footer, here is the article section and everything. Then comes the css is a like, you can say there won't be a point when you could say that I have done learning css, like there is no end and there is no actually the right solution to css. So css is a ongoing learning process, I would say. So again, like once your this web page structure is ready, you need some styling to it. So there comes this css. And obviously you would have heard about the interactivity on your web page, the button click, what will happen if someone clicks the button and the slider is moving, and n numbers of things happen. Like if you try to fill a form and submit the data, it goes to the back end, have like do some stuff, and then comes some response. So these everything is handled through javascript. So like once again, like like earlier we used to make project using this vanilla javascript meaning no framework, no library, a plain javascript. Even now that is possible, but with the comings of this library, with the comings of this framework, now the web development process has become way efficient, way easy, and like n numbers of possibilities are there. Like now there is no limit, I would say. So like once you are comfortable around these three, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then I would suggest you to move about this Node.js/Express.js. Then what is this Node.js Express.js? This is nothing but Mihir talked about the backend stuff. So this is that backend. Like in a JavaScript world, Node.js is called a runtime environment. Again, like if you'll do your own research, why I'm saying it a runtime environment, you will get to know. But yeah, and again, this Express.js is nothing but it is a Node.js framework or library, I would say. So that is the thing. This is, but this point number 4 comprises to be a backend. Then I would suggest you to learn about this database. So again, like in a database, there is two perspectives: the SQL or no SQL. In a college, you could have heard about this Oracle DB or MySQL. And like in industry nowadays, this NoSQL has been widely popular. This basically uses of this Mongo database. Again, like I won't say that SQL has deprecate. Like it has still a way, like with the coming of this other technology like Postgres, quick SQL and everything. But again, like this choosing between SQL or no SQL depend upon you, like what you try to become, like which type of database you prefer, what are your requirement. I myself know both of these. And like if you could choose to like learn about NoSQL or SQL, and again going forward you could learn, like again, if you are very flexible about your, you could say, the tooling or this technology, you will go very far in your life, at least from a career perspective, I would say. Okay, so this SQL and NoSQL comprises the database, and then the point number 6, this learn React slash Vue slash Angular. So this is nothing but the front end of your full stack journey. So now you have learned about the back end, now you have learned about the database, then comes the front end. So again, front end, there's the options like you could either go for React or Vue or Angular, and nowadays even Svelte is getting famous and everything. So this is about that. And earlier I was talking about this mean, mern, maven. So if you will see the highlighted part primarily, so again, like M stands for MongoDB, E stands for Express.js, R stands for React, and N stands for Node.js. So the R term, the React term, this is quite used interchangeably. You could actually use, instead of mern stack, it could be mean stack. When we are saying mean stack, it is nothing but just Angular. When I'm saying Maven stack, it is nothing just a front end tools change and it becomes Vue.js. Okay, and then this point number 7, again, like it is again a very crucial, and it actually relates to the previous slides point number 2. When I talked about this to stay up to date, stay updated, so this is that, like go back to step 3. Like there is no stop to learning. You always learn something new, because every day something new is coming up, something new is basically every day, like this whole technologies are getting update. So with update, new things comes in. So like if you wish to stay in this, let's say, full stack domain or any technology particularly, you have to be up to date. And there comes this particularly point number 7. And like if you actually followed these, and I won't say again, like if you need to find a good course, do your own research, find a good course, and follow these in a particular order. And if you actually did all this, then congratulations, you are now a full stack app developer. So this is the way you should proceed with. And Samiksha would be sharing this PPT link with you. I myself has written a very small blog, but again, like this won't be restricted to this particular, but there are in numbers of resources available out there and everything. Very good courses, some are paid, some are free and everything. So these are the some reference link I have added for your own reference. uh all right, I mean, that is all from my end, Mihir end. Over to you, Samiksha. Thank you guys. And okay, we are open to questions. I hope you guys have some questions you could actually clarify. So over to you, Samiksha.
Yes, guys, in case you have any questions related to the webinar or related to full stack web development, you can put it in the chat box. Mihir and Alok could answer your questions. We'll be giving you 5 to 10 minutes. Just type in your questions in the chat box.
The question could be anything, like, I mean, whatever in your mind, just ask about it. We are open to discuss about it. Yep.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I got a question.
Hi, Nikhil. Yeah.
Yes, hi. First of all, a very nice presentation by both of you guys. It was a great learning experience. So my question is about these open source contribution, which is quite popular these days. Like once we have learned all these technologies, the HTML, CSS, JS, and like a front end and a back end thing, then there is this phenomena of making projects. So one is making your own project, and the other is contributing into some other open source project. So yes, you can create your own project, but it would obviously be of a smaller scale. So I would like to know more about this open source journey, like how to start, what are the steps to begin with, and how to get with it in time. Yes, thank you.
That's a really great question, Nikhil. So when we started this open devs, like in the beginning of webinar, we were talking about this open source initiative that me and Alok created, and now we have like 5 people in it, and it's growing steadily. So when we started it, we also felt the same way. We were working in the industry, we were already doing stuff, but whatever we created was of very small scale, and it wasn't making like that much of an impact. And if we wanted to make something that would make that much of an impact, then we would have to invest so much time in it that a single person won't be able to like complete it in due time, and maybe someone else will catch up and they will be able to do it, right? So basically, why? So we formed this team because we knew that if we come together, if we join hands, if we like have more resources, we can pitch forward an idea, and then we can all work on it, and that way we'll be able to deliver something efficiently and in time, and have better improvements too, because someone might have good ideas and all. So that's what we started doing. So we began with like open source contribution. So what we do is basically how you get started is if you go to a repository, if you go to any sort of code that is written on GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket, you will see they have a section of issues, right? If it's a popular library, they maintain a section of issues. So they mentioned that, yeah, these are some of the things that are missing in our library. These are something you can improve, anyone can improve. So if you look at that thing, like let's say I use a browser extension. I'm using a browser extension, and I want that browser extension to have a timer functionality, and that browser extension is available on GitHub. So I'll go there, I'll see if there is an issue. There would be an issue, and if there is no issues, you can create that issue that I want this timer functionality. And if the owner of the repository who has created that browser extension agrees, then you can pick that up. You can create, you can fork that repository in your own GitHub account, implement that feature, and then create a pull request to the original repository. And after code inspection and everything, if it's a good implementation, then they will accept it. So this is how basically it goes. Whatever you want to solve, let's say you find something missing in a repository, or you see that you can add something to it, okay? So you can just create a pull request for it, right? You can just write the code, you can just create a pull request for it. They will inspect your code, they will see that if your code is up to their coding standards, if you are writing variables in good ways, if your functions are correctly implemented and all. And if everything checks out, they will uh, accept your pull request. And the best part about this open source thing is that when you create your pull request, maybe you did some mistake, maybe you named your variables as ABC, or maybe you named your functions in very jargon ways, XYZ or something. They will be able to provide you some good feedback with, using which you can even improve yourself. So you are contributing to a thing which is actually being used by many people, as well as you are actually improving yourself. All right. So just explore around. You will see there are thousands of GitHub repositories who have like open issues. See if you can solve one of those issues. Just write the code for it, create the PR and everything. And if you have something in your own mind, like let's say you have some sort of product in your mind that others can use, like me and Alok, we created a browser extension. Sorry, we created a VS Code extension that actually tells you to take a break when you're coding. Like when we get into that zone, then we don't remember how much time we have been coding for, right? So we created an extension which would help us in that, like, so that it reminds us to take a break, it reminds us to take a walk, drink some water, and things like that. So and now it's being used by other developers. So that's the thing. Either if you have an idea in your mind, you can develop it, or if you have you can solve something in a popular repository, you can do that too. Alok, anything to add here?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Mihir, for the explanation, and thank you, Nikhil, for the great question. And okay, like my only perspective is like from a front end perspective. Sorry, from a beginner perspective. Sorry, my mistake. All right, so from a beginner perspective, like let's say now you are done learning all this stuff, and if you will just try to find out the issues which you could contribute to, it could become overwhelming, because like if you will see to this project, it has huge chunk of code. Like since you have recently learned about it, and now you're trying to contribute to a repo which has like millions of users using it, so it could be a bit overwhelming to you. So like from a very beginner perspective, my recommendation would be try to build your own project. Like let's say you even yourself making a very small project, but make sure you are making on your own. And in the process, like whenever you're going to sleep or something, you could just explore around some of the issues. Like I won't say devote yourself to only finding this. Okay, I understand this open source contributions gives you a lot of learning and everything, and it is actually a very great way. But if you will just think about only contributing, and from a beginner perspective, it could become overwhelming, and you may be going nowhere. So while you are making some project on your own, keep exploring stuff, keep going to issues. As Mihir said, like the best way to find any issues is to, while you are using the product, like I have seen Mihir, when I was we were using the one of the carousel feature. Like it doesn't had the timing feature, like at every 5 second or 4 second, this particular carousel, this image to slide upon. This particular package doesn't have this particular feature. So what Mihir did, he actually forked this code and did a whole uh, contribution to it. So the best way again to make a very first again PR to contribute to open source would be to go from a personal experience. Like you are using some list load as, or you could be using n numbers of other libraries, and you may be missing. Okay, like let's say you are using lodas, and now you know, okay, you know a lot about this lodas package. Then you could go to this particular lodas package GitHub page, and you could look into this repository, find issues, and then again, like there are contribution guideline you could read about, and then how you could contribute. So yeah, so that is a gist about it, I would say. It's like, don't get overwhelmed. Contribution, you could, anyone could contribute, like if you know what you're doing. So while you are making your own project on your own product, meanwhile you could keep exploring, and you would find some issues which are relevant and which are related to your expertise, and you could help upon. So yep, and like best issues comes from your while you are using the package itself, like Lodash or something. Like Lodash is coming into my mind, so I'm again reiterating on that. Yeah. So that is all, Nikhil. I hope you're clear from this perspective.
Yes, definitely, Mihir and Lok. Thank you so much for answering my question in such depth. And also, you mentioned about your VS Code extensions, so I would love to use that. So please do mention about it. Thank you.
You could find the link about that while going to opendevs.in. Yep, definitely check out this initiative. Like, and again, as Mihir said, as a individual, we generally tend to have the issues around how to. It becomes, as I'm saying, overwhelming. So as a team, actually, we do. If someone is like, we actually either develop an open source project or help each other to contribute to open source projects. So yeah, that is the gist of this whole open devs. Any other questions, guys?
Okay, so since people don't have any other questions, I would like to ask. Okay, here is one question from Shomit Bhattacharya. Yeah. So he basically asks for backend which language will be more preferred in future, Django or PHP Laravel?
Okay, let me answer this, made. Probably you could add few more point around it. Okay, so Sumit, like if you are a fresher and starting to like, if you're planning to start either one of them, like there are other options available too. But if you have to choose upon these two, so look, I would say this could be a bold statement, but if every other developer says about it, like even I have seen few of my friends struggling around this PHP. So the only good thing left inside this PHP is the PHP Laravel framework. So let's say you learned about it. Now you know about this PHP Laravel, and now you are like you actually found a job and you are doing your job and like all good. But there always comes a time when you need to switch company. But like with this PHP, like as I said, the only good thing left inside this PHP is this particular framework, which is quite good and famous actually. So relevantly, like I would say comparatively, you would find less opportunity in this PHP Laravel and Django. Yeah, it is famous on its Python. So yeah, I would again, like if the comparison is between just two, so I would say Django. Just being the personal reason, because I have seen people like even if they are finding opportunity around this PHP thing, it could be on like they won't actually find you. Like let's say if you're looking for PHP Laravel, there could be some PHP other framework, or they could ask you to simply code on PHP, and that job won't be high paying. So if you are planning to start from now, so I won't suggest you to go with PHP actually, because the comparatively the pay is obviously less in the PHP domain. Any thoughts on this particular, Mihir?
Yeah, I can talk about my personal perspective too. So I have learned Python too. I worked with PHP too. I delivered some projects on it too, and eventually I also had to migrate to this JavaScript stack and come to that. So I also felt when I was in college, I also felt like what should I choose, and then PHP was seemed like yeah I should go with. But eventually I had to like it wasn't something like someone pushed me or anything into new things, but the demands as the demands are growing, so I'm seeing that yeah there is more demand in this JavaScript stack, so I better learn it and grow into it, right? So based on this perspective, like we have seen that yeah means PHP is being phased out. Existing projects that are built on PHP, yeah, you will be supporting them, but newer projects, most of the newer projects don't opt for it. So yeah, if you are just talking about like PHP and Django, then I would say like Django is yeah definitely a better choice. But yeah, if you are open to everything, as Alok said, don't be rigid about it. That if I know Java, I won't learn JavaScript or I won't learn Python because I'm Java for life sort of person. Don't be like that. If you can like just explore. If you love it, you can maybe yeah, you can maybe start developing in it.
And again, like from a job perspective market, JavaScript has a huge demand. Like it's my personal opinion, I have seen like as Samiksha was saying earlier, even this in this pandemic, Even I switched job during the pandemic phase. So there is like huge demand in this whole JavaScript technology, and it's growing very rapidly, very fast. So it doesn't mean that it like you have to read about, like now myself like know a lot of libraries and framework around this JavaScript. And since like now I'm stable in the industry, I could go on and learn some other backend language. So I could go for either Go or anything. So from a job perspective, from an opportunity perspective, I would definitely ask you to go for JavaScript stack. But if you are rigid about to choose among these two, so I would suggest to go for Django. Any questions, guys?
Any other questions? If you want to ask, you can type it in the chat box.
All right. If you have any questions after this session, also you can. We have our LinkedIn handles there. You can connect with us and you can just ask us there on, and we'll try to help you as much as we can. Over
Yeah,
to you,
they will
Smita.
try to answer your questions because they are also busy. So obviously they won't be answering it as soon as as soon as you type the question. But yeah, whenever they get time, they'll be answering those questions for you. So I have few questions for you guys in case they aren't asking the questions. We got some questions on the forms which we ask the people to fill related to the questions they want to ask. So I would be asking those questions to you people. So the first question is, can you share your experience on how you chose web development as your career for future? Because there are a lot of other technologies coming up like AI, machine learning, DevOps, and everything. So why you chose web development as your career?
Uh, Hello, would you like to take this on?
Yes, I could answer this probably. Again, like when we talk about like, okay, this AI thing, ML thing, it sounds very cool and like everyone knows it is going to be the near future. But trust me, being a fresher, being a beginner, you don't want to choose this. You wish to, you could actually learn Python, you could learn about it, but when it comes to actual job opportunity, you are not going to find any relative fresher opportunity, I would say. So actually I'm a huge fan of this Tanay Pratap. If you will search him on LinkedIn, you would find him. And he actually like he's trying to break this myth. Like in college, like our teacher used to tell like, okay, ab to bhai AI ML hi future hai, learn this. But trust me, it is not. When I see this why, okay, this comes in the question like why I came into this web development. This is a different thing. Yeah, probably I will talk about myself. But like when you have confused, you could, I would suggest that you could go for Android development, you could go for hybrid mobile web development, anything like that of sort. But if you are just confused between either could to go into this web development or AIML, I would definitely suggest you to just trust me and go with web development for now. If you really like, again, like if you really have the passion to actually pursue this AIML, and obviously we know for sure it is going to be the coming future. But by future, what it means, like when you have certain experience, you could go to do, basically you could actually choose to do this MS masters or MCom, sorry, MTech, I would say. So then you could plan, like once you have the experience, then you could actually plan to go into this AIML thing. But being a fresher, being a BTech graduate, I would definitely not recommend you to deep dive into uh, this AIML trap again. And the other prospect, like how I came into this development, I myself started as an Android developer. I during one like I did one training around this Java Android, and then I started making Android app. And actually, it was very cool. I actually, it felt like I now have the power to develop some cool Android apps, and I could use that on my own mobile phone. बट कहते हैं ना किस्मत को कुछ और लिखा था. तो आई हैड दिस वेरी दिस i3 processor computer in my college days, and it was actually lagging behind this Android app. And like this Android Studio app is like very big and heavy. So just because of that, I had to shift to web development. And trust me, like I'm very thankful that I had this i3 generation computer, because if not, I would have stuck with this Android app development. And I wouldn't say stuck, because like why I'm saying this is stuck, because with coming of this JavaScript, nowadays hybrid apps are getting more popular. And like now you can even develop native Android app using this JavaScript. So yeah, again, like I since I could be bit biased because I am into this JavaScript domain, so I could be a bit biased around it. But yeah, like JavaScript is actually serving its purpose to an extent where you don't need any other technology or tools. And anything to add here?
Yeah, I would not like go as far as saying it's not a good choice. Uh, Basically, it depends on your preference. If you want to solve like complex mathematical problems, and you are in all those sort of thing where you see a lot of data coming in, and you see that you want to work with it, then definitely you can go with AI/ML because everything is crucial. This front end thing is crucial. So when Google is building some software, so they have their front end, back end, their servers and everything, but they also have their AI and ML, which is actually giving you suggestions, right, based on what you receive, what you do with their products, right? So everything is very crucial. Why I chose for me, why I chose personally to go ahead with like full stack development is because I loved seeing that I'm building something and it can be used by other people. Yeah, it's a front end thing. I am seeing what I'm building and it can be used by other people. We can plug in like a server with it. I can plug in a database. I can scale it up. Millions of people can use it and all. So that's why I chose to go ahead with this full stack web development. But different people can have different challenges that they love to solve. So yeah, obviously, one point that point that Alok mentioned is very true. That initially, when you are in college, when you are in a beginner phase, then coming to job perspective, then you would find lesser job for AI or ML in an entry level than compared to this full stack development. So that's something to keep in mind too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool hearing it out from you guys. So you can share your industry experience also since you have been in this industry for more than 3 years now. So I would like you guys to share your experience on how you are tackling day-to-day problems related to full stack web development and what challenges are you guys facing in this industry right now.
Yeah, yeah. Look,
Mir, would you go on or should I continue?
uh, yeah, sure, I can go on. So I'll come back to this thing that Alok talked about, which is like stay updated. So in 2 words. That's how we solve it. We just keep learning. We keep learning new things. Uh, Maybe my manager comes in and they tell us that yeah, you need to actually build this thing, and I don't know about it. Then I go ahead and learn it, right? So in these 2 words only, like you can solve it. Just stay updated. Uh, as Alok mentioned, React keeps getting update every 6 months. So you need to keep yourself updated there, and then every other stack and every other thing has something new coming up. Every day you will hear that something new is coming up. So yeah, that's it. Like we keep ourselves updated. We are on Twitter. We see posts on Twitter. We read like Medium articles, LinkedIn articles, and all. And yeah, that's basically it. And also we try to implement those things, not just read it. Maybe try to build something small with it, but try to know it. That's it. Alok, anything to add?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would say talking about the experience, like again, like I have been the to the other side of the table too. Like I have been the college, like, and even I was like fascinated about how this whole industry is working. So one thing, like even in the college we used to make this final year project. So I would say even in the industry it's just a project, but you could say a lot more people is involved. It is way more structured, and it's like any website, even Flipkart or Amazon isn't built in a day. It's all split into a small chunk, and we are actually provided the responsibility to particularly develop this particular module. And we had certain deadline, we develop it, and in the phase, like we learn a lot. Like it's not like if know about this whole MERN stack, I know everything. Like even we had to Google, we had to read about article. As Mihir is saying that the key thing is to stay up to date, know about the coding guideline. You always have to write good quality code, because like even in the company, like when we write code, when we do complete the module coding, we actually raise a PR, and then our senior, the tech lead, would be reviewing those things. So yeah, like it's like in the industry, if you are passionate enough, it's just a learning path. You are coming to office, you are given a project to develop. It's, you could say, a very small project because it's just a module of a whole big project, but in the process you are learning a lot. And the key point is to stay up to date, because like, and always try to write good and optimized solution, I would say. Yep, nothing much, but yeah, this is it.
Yes, guys, if you have any other questions, you can post it in the chat box, or then again, you can connect with them on their LinkedIn accounts, and they would be answering your questions as soon as possible. So we'll be waiting for 1 more minute in case you guys don't have any other questions. We would be moving forward. Okay. So since you guys don't have any other questions, I would be sharing the attendance sheet in the chat box. You need to fill this attendance sheet with your details. Okay. We have one question from Nikhil Sharma. He is asking how to build good LinkedIn or GitHub profiles. What are your opinions on this question?
Follow ours. I mean, I would say just learn from others. The key fact, the key point is, Nikhil, like learn from other. Look out other profile, what they have kept, and try to
दरवाजा
implement
बंद कर
that
देना.
on your own. That on your own. So, like you could actually visit our profile, the LinkedIn profile which you had shared. I just try to fill all the details which I have. Like, let's say if I have completed certain certificate, I always add that. If I have some good project in hand, I will add that. You need to come up with a good headline. You need to come up with a good about. That is all, or and everything else is just about your detail, like your education section, your qualifications, your skill set, your experience, and everything. You just need to fill out all those. And the next things comes in to be up to date. By mean up to date, like if you are learning something new, add that to your skill set. If you are gaining some experience, if you are doing something, completing any course, add that. If time to time, try to update your headline. So this is particularly for the LinkedIn part. And GitHub, it's like, again, as Mihir said earlier, like try to be more structured. Everything, like whenever you are doing your code and everything, try to like, okay, my learnings, how it comes. Even if I am actually following any course or something, I actually code along. And in the process, like let's say I started watching video first and I went up to video third. Then what I do, I actually do a commit. So commit with all my learnings, like till now what I have made this. So again, like in the GitHub, now we have a feature of this GitHub README. So again, like if you will again go to my particular GitHub README page, it's, I would say, quite good. And even like my Mihir's GitHub page is way more decent, I would say. But yeah, that's the thing. Like even we have learned all these things from others' profile. So it's all about, like it's a one time, कहते हैं ना, एक बार की मेहनत है, and then you need to be a bit like थोड़ा बहुत चेंज करते हो जाएगा. It's not about, like it's not too much, but it's about being up to date. And like while you are updating yourself, keep your profile up to date. So it's just about that. And yeah, if you have a habit of building project, or even small or the big one, maintain that on GitHub. Like don't make your project sit ideal on your machine. And every repository should have a good readme. There are n numbers of packages available which help you write very good readme. You could take reference from ours, and like ours, like mine or Mihir. And even my ours GitHub user ID is same, this Alok722 and MIKR30. So you could take the reference from there. Hope that answers your question, Nikhil.
Yeah, so basically they are trying to say that first learn whatever you guys need to learn and then stay updated.
Cool. Yep.
Every day the technology is changing and you need to be updated with the technology in order to move forward in the industry.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I'd like to add here is like you can build something really great but if you don't present it, then it won't mean
Yep.
anything, right? So
Right.
just upload it, like upload it on GitHub, post about it on LinkedIn, whatever you did. Don't you can in this beginning maybe you won't get that much interaction, but that's how you grow, right? Means first you build something, you post about it, you keep that consistency, and that's it. That's all that matters. Yeah.
Yeah, even a small learning could point something, like even if you're learning very things small, try to document that process in a MD file and keep it up to date in this GitHub. That would add something to your profile, I would say. Again, and as Mihir said, even if at the beginning, like you are posting something on LinkedIn, and if it is not getting too much interaction, that is all right. It's your profile. You could do on your own. It's not like you're doing something bad. Eventually it will try to, like, people start interacting with it, like with the following numbers of connections on LinkedIn. So yeah, it's all about consistency.
Yes, guys, consistency and yeah, get just get updated on the recent technologies and keep updating yourself as long as possible and as soon as possible, because that's how you'll be surviving in this industry. Obviously you would be working in technical industry, so that's how you would be surviving in this industry, right? So yeah, so since you guys don't have any other questions, we would be moving forward now. Okay, yeah, Mihir, you can stop sharing your screen. I'll be sharing it
Yeah.
from now on. Yes, guys, just give me a second. Okay, so is my window visible now?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is.
Okay, cool. Okay, so since my window is visible, I would like to introduce from TechBairn. We are launching a course named WebMonk, which is related to full stack web development. And in this course, we would the entire business sector is looking out for efficient web developers, as Mihir and Alok told you guys, and it has become the most highly demanded profession of this century, basically. So we have qualified expert trainers for this course also. Alok and Mihir would be teaching you guys, and since you guys attended the webinar, you know how well and versed they are in this industry, how much knowledge they have related to this field. And with this course, we will see here we have the syllabus of the course. We would be teaching you HTML, CSS, Git, JavaScript, React, Node, MongoDB, and a lot of things like Express, Google Analytics. It will make your resume basically industry ready and help you build a great resume for placements as well as to get you fit in this industry. They would be sharing their experiences on how they tackled a lot of problems in this industry, how they survived this industry, and how they are growing their profiles in this industry. So these are some of the uh, syllabus which they would be covering throughout this course. It would be a 3-month course for you guys. Then we would be having some projects. Here are some of the projects. As you can see, we would be covering up 4 projects, and then certifications would be provided to you. Also, there would be weekly assessments for you guys. Peer-to-peer interactions would be there. Projects would be there. Assignments, as you can see here, marking scheme is there. And in case you become one of the top performers of this entire course, you'll be getting an opportunity to do an internship also with the collaborated partners, with our collaborated partners. Okay, so in case you guys want to go check out this course, I'll be sharing the link. I'll be sharing the link. Can you see the screen right now also? Hello. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, yes. It was
Yeah,
visible.
it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sorry. This is, yeah. So basically, in case you have any doubts or queries related to this course, you can check out the website named www.techband.com. Over there, you would be getting a lot of further knowledges like what you need to do and how the course would be working. Okay. So now I would be going for the vote of thanks, our distinguished guest and my dear participants. Yeah, before that, don't forget to fill the attendance sheet because you'll be receiving the certification on based on the details which you fill in the attendance sheet. So yeah, now I would be moving forward with the vote of thanks, our distinguished guest and my dear participants. On behalf of TechBairn, its entire fraternity and the organizing committee, I take immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks to our eminent speakers, Alok Raj, Senior Software Engineer at Globant and co-founder of OpenDevs, and Mihir Kumar, Software Engineer at Twilio and co-founder of OpenDevs, who spared the time from his busy schedule to grace this webinar with his extremely relevant presentation on full stack web development. They rightly talked about the knowledge and experience which one needs to gain with a lot of hard work combined with an enlightening mentorship. So we here at TechBrand will help you achieve your goal of getting your dream job without letting this pandemic affect your situation. We are a student friendly platform and want the students to be benefited at the end of the day. And so we assure you guys that after the completion of this entire course, you will not only gain some knowledge, but will also gain a lot of experience, which would be helping you guys in the industrial field in the near future. My heartfelt and deep sense of appreciation and thanks to all the participants who chose to be live with us and attended the webinar with great enthusiasm and made it a successful event. Once again, I thank you all for being with us this evening. Have a wonderful day ahead. At the end, I would like to end your day with a wonderful line I have also believed on, which is given by Walt Disney. He says, "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing." It inspires me that doing takes a lot of hard work, but it's worth in the end. So, guys, get ready to take a lot of risk and use your ideas and innovation to benefit others as well as yourself in every way possible. So, from now on, yeah. In
Thank you,
case you have,
guys.
yeah, any
Thank you.
other questions, you can talk to them on their LinkedIn profile. So, yeah, thank you everyone for your time for today.
You
Thank
guys
you for
stay
being a
safe.
great
Bye.
audience. Bye.